The engine is still
for launch. GC, go. Guidance, go. Fido, go. Prop, go. GNC, go. Max, go. Eagle, go. Ecom,
go. Pending final steps to cabin link check.
3, 2, 1.
Is there anyone here that would like to communicate with us? Can you give us a sign?
Welcome to the R.I.F.T Nation Network, the RNN, putting a slide in your glide and a dip in your hip. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe. With shows throughout the week, you can find us at Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and more. Everything you could want, everything you can need right here, right now. From the paranormal to the supernatural. From comedy to the spiritual. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
It's showtime, folks!
Podcast may contain material that some listeners may find sensitive, offensive, or disturbing. We strive to create respectful and informative content, but topics discussed may include mature themes such as violence, explicit language, or controversial subjects, triggering content including discussions related to mental health, trauma, or other sensitive issues, explicit language. Occasionally, our guests or hosts may use strong language. While we aim to handle these topics with care and empathy, we encourage listeners to exercise discretion. If you find any content distressing, consider skipping or seeking support. Remember that this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice. If you need assistance, please consult a qualified expert.
Hello, good evening. Happy Wednesday. It's True Crime Wednesday, where astrology meets true crime. I'm your host, Joni Skinner. We are streaming live on the R.I.F.T Nation Network on Facebook, YouTube, and on all other platforms. We also have a podcast. I mean, if you aren't able to stream us live, we are on Spotify, on the R.I.F.T Nation Network. So welcome, everybody. Please hit the like button and share. I hope everybody's doing well. Everyone made it through that horrific snowstorm up east. And if you're up there, I hope you are dug out. I think we're all done. We are done with winter. My sinuses are done with winter. We want spring. How's everybody doing? Let's do a shout out to the chat tonight. I've got tonight is let me fix that. Tonight is a feel-good show for tonight. I thought, geez, we cover true crime, and sometimes we need a feel-good story, a story with a very happy ending, and it's one of those very unexpected endings. And I was just kind of doing a little bit of research with the Guthrie case that we've looked at for past 3 weeks in a row on DNA. because the sheriff had made a statement that mixed DNA and they're having issues with it. So I thought, DNA is so advanced. I'm going to look up and see what's new and what's advanced. And I came across this case, DNA related. So I thought it's a neat case, and I thought let's look at the chart because of the fact, if you remember, the second house in the event chart for astrology is abduction, and this is a story of a kidnapping abduction. So I wanted to see if that matched up with Miss Guthrie's chart. Astrologers we don't predict. It's a misconception. So if you hear, oh, they predict, they can't do that. We are historians. We go back and look at past patterns. So, for example, on an event chart, which is what we use, we don't use a natal chart. We use what is called an event chart. So, if we have planets in the second house, it can signify an abduction or a kidnapping. Same with an unaliving, 8th house and 12th house. And I always get them mixed up. One is Pluto. I think it's Pluto in the 12th, Uranus in the 8th. Or it might be the other way around. I get it mixed up. So there are markers that we look at. How do we know? By past history. I'm going to look up the Lindbergh baby case as well and see if there's second house. That's how we learn. It's how we document and know that we're accurate. Forensic astrology is about, just from my experience, about 98% accurate, and the other 2% is my error. The mapping just is never wrong. How does it work? We don't know, but it works. And so what we do as forensic astrologers, for those of you that are viewing and that you're not familiar, we put together what we call an event chart. I'll show you an event chart. It looks like a natal chart. Sorry about the light. See, there you go. It looks like a natal chart, but it's not. It's what we call an event chart. It's more on the mundane astrology side. Mundane astrology, which is events, like countries, like events that occur around the world, like 9/11, things of that nature. So we need what we call a timestamp. When was the person last talked to? When is their last text message? When were they seen on camera? The astrology is only as accurate as the timestamp. So we use that time, we use the date, and the address as where this person, let's use a missing person, where that person was last seen or heard from. That way we can take the calculations and put it on a map for search and rescue groups and for people that want to go out and search for someone that's missing, or if it's a cold case, in this case, an abduction. Miss Guthrie's case, and that there are some weird things that are popping up on that chart and that mapping that I put at the end of tonight's show because I wanted to show you guys. It appears that every week, whether they're out searching, whether there's another group out searching, or the police, take somebody in for questioning, they are showing up on this map. I think there's 5 now. So I outlined them to show you guys, and I keep thinking, maybe this will all, like a big puzzle, be put together at the end of this case. I don't know. I've never seen a chart do this. Now, Kirsty McIntosh, who is the expert on forensic astrology from Australia, she has always had, if she has a map and a missing person, sometimes there will be 2 people found, the remains of 2 people. One may not even be associated with that chart. I've had a search and rescue group use a map, and they went to every spot on the map, and one was the brother-in-law's house. Another place was, I think, a place where that person worked. The maps tell a story. So it's kind of neat to document that. I'm going to be curious how the Guthrie case turns out, to go back and study it. With every missing person case, we go back and study it. So that's just kind of a little update on forensic astrology. So let's check in with the chat, see how y'all are doing tonight, and then we will get into this case. Is anybody familiar with the Melissa Highsmith case? This is Melissa Highsmith, baby Melissa in the picture. This dates back to 1971. She was abducted. Is anybody familiar with it? While we look at the chat. Hello, Miss Denise. How are our friends in Canada tonight? Hello, Miss Lisa. Denise always has the coolest emojis. Every Wednesday, Denise has cool emojis. Let me see if it'll pop up. There we go. Hello, all, and happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday to you, hon. How are you, Miss Denise? How's it going? Hello, Miss Lisa. Hi, everybody. Hope you're all having a good week. I'm having a good week this week. I think with the eclipse over with, remember March the 3rd, we have another eclipse. It's a nice one. It's in Virgo. It's a lunar eclipse, which is a full moon eclipse. It's a nice one. I like it. Ro, how are you? Here she is, Miss Forensic Astrologist Extraordinaire. How are you? How's it going? I hope y'all doing well. Hello, Miss Lee. How are you? And Miss Cindy, who also has a phenomenal show on the Rift Nation Network, Mondays at 9 p.m. Cindy works with energies. She is she's very talented. She's is Reiki master. She does the sound therapy. Is it sound? What do you call it, Cindy? Sound therapy with the bowls. Just a great show. She's got a great show. I'm doing well, Lee. I got sick again. I think everybody has been fighting the allergies and congestion. I don't know what's going on. Like mine started up again last week. It got cold here. Now today it warmed up. I actually had my window open today. It was 20 over the weekend. So I think it's allergy sinus related. I swear I do. It's crazy. I've never been sick like this. Hello, Miss Lois. How's it going? It's just nuts. Miss Tammy. We have Florida and Texas in the house. I'm so jealous of you guys because it's warm down there all the time. Miss Chuckles for Life, how are you? We've got search and rescuers in the house tonight. I hope y'all are doing well. Hi, Miss Kathy. How are you? I'm so jealous of my Texas and Florida friends because it's warm and it's lovely. Miss Linda, how are you? Hope you're doing well, hon. Thank you, Miss Lois. Never heard of that case. Oh, guess what, Tammy? Guess where it is? Guess where it is, Texas girls and boys? Fort Worth, Texas. Fort Worth. You're gonna like this case. Hello, Sir Keith. And Keith, another Rift Nation Network person. He has a show on Monday evenings. I do astrology every other Monday on Keith's show. We go through what's happening in normal astrology, not forensic astrology. And then on the flip side, he does a show with a variety of guests, and he and the girls talk about energy, paranormal. What else, Keith? Like Bigfoot stuff and mysteries, UFOs, you name it, they talk about it. So his show is on 7 o'clock on Mondays. And then Cindy is 9 o'clock on Mondays, Eastern. Keith is 7 o'clock on Eastern. Hello, Miss Heather. How are you? I hope y'all are doing well. Are you guys having allergy stuff too? Or sinuses? I don't know what the heck it is. It's just annoying. Okay, yes, sound therapy and biofield tuning. Is that the sound bowls? Is biofield tuning sound bowls? They're really neat. I like them. I think they are very relaxing, which is what we need. Take this time between now and March the 20th to relax and enjoy kind of a calming Pisces. We're in Pisces season. So it's more of a relaxed energy, not so much that we had in January and February, because we crank back up on March 20th. So get ready. Going into Aries season, it's wild. I hate to say I've never seen anything like it, because I feel like that's all I say about 2026, but it's true. I've never seen anything like it in my life. So if you know Aries people, Aries rising, Aries energy, and their personalities, times it by 6. Times it by 6. It's going to be Aries on steroids. Denise, doing well, having a slow week. Cannot complain. Happy that our snowstorm was not as bad as anticipated. I am too, Denise. New York got crushed. Did you all see that? And like up east, like Maine, Connecticut, Maryland, New Jersey, they got crushed. They can keep it up there. They're used to it up there. They're used to it. Now, this case, like I said, I kind of gave it away. I was going to make it a surprise at the end, but I told you it's a really great ending. But it's really a neat case, and I love what is happening now with the DNA, and how like the authorities are going to, like, you know, when you put when you want to do your genealogy and all that stuff, and I guess I don't know, I don't want to say it, but I guess you spit or put stuff on your DNA or whatever on a toothpick, or not a toothpick, but a Q-tip or something, and you send it in. That's how a lot of these law enforcement and stuff, and that's what happened here. In this case with the DNA, they're finding and matching people. They're finding perps through these genealogy stuff. It's really cool, really neat stuff. So so Cindy says, can be the bulls, but tuning forks harmonize dense energy from our field outside our body and balance within as well. I like it. You need it this year. We need it in 2026. It's wild. It's going to be wild till about August. It calms down in August. Miss Linda, New England, my sister and cousin at Connecticut got hit. Way too much snow. Oh, 84 out there shoveling. Are you kidding me, Linda? Somebody 84 shoveling? Don't they have neighbors? Don't they have those snow blowers? I swear I'm getting a flamethrower. You can get them on Amazon. They're little portable flamethrowers that you attach a thing to it. Go out there and just flamethrower. I'm going to get a flamethrower. I'm done. We even have a HOA that comes and does it, but still, I'm getting a flamethrower. Guys, this is a great case, you guys. Just get you started on this case. Then we'll look at Miss Nancy's case. I haven't really looked at an update on the Guthrie case as of today, because I feel it gets a little frustrating, because this is happening and then it's pulled back, and no, that didn't happen, or it's a lot of mass confusion with this case. You know, a lot of mass confusion. A guy that comes into work said, boy, I just wish the FBI would take it over. I do too. But, you know, the FBI comes in under invitation from, you know, local police departments. They just assist. They don't ever take over. They just don't do it. But I wish they would. So this is the story. This is an interesting case. Let me get my notes. This is Melissa Highsmith as a toddler. Now, that's her father and mother to the right, and mom and dad separated. This is back in 1971. So mom moved, here we are, Fort Worth, Texas, to an apartment. Now, you have to remember for our young people, back in 1971, we didn't have internet. You know, our television sets went off at midnight to the Star Spangled Banner, and then there was a flag, and then it was nothing. That was after like Johnny Carson. So we didn't have the technology. We read the paper, the newspaper, or we watched Walter Cronkite every night. That was it. That was our news. So how Melissa moved in, she had got a job as a waitress. She had separated from her husband, and little Melissa was a toddler. She's a little baby, okay? So she needed a babysitter. So she put an ad in the newspaper, which was back then was very, very common to put ads in the newspaper. How did you get a job? Well, of course, you looked in the newspaper in the want ads. So what happened is she put an ad in the paper that she needed a babysitter for her toddler. And a woman responded and said, you know, I can watch the baby. So what happened is she did not show up. She wanted to meet the lady. She did not show up. However, she contacted Melissa's mother and said, you know, I watch children in my home. I have kids that come in, they play in the yard. So she went ahead, didn't meet her, and hired her to be a babysitter. So what happened is she went to work, left little Melissa with her roommate, and a woman came over and picked up baby Melissa at 7:30 a.m. So that was on August the 23rd, 1971 at 7:30 a.m. at her apartment in Fort Worth, Texas. She never returned baby Melissa. Never returned her. So the roommate said, you know, she was very well dressed. She had on gloves. She had on a hat. Fine. I mean, there were no red flags with this woman. But she kidnapped and abducted the baby. Now, of course, things haven't changed much since, you know, as they are today. Of course, Melissa's mother went through a lot because she was accused. Oh, you know, she wasn't abducted. You guys we see it. We see it on a lot of cases. People are, the fingers pointed at them. But back then we really didn't have social media, so it wasn't as bad as it gets on people now. So what happened is the family continued to look for baby Melissa. Every year in November, they would do a birthday party for Melissa. They never gave up hope. Her mother never gave up hope. So what happened? Oh, let me give you, I've got some pictures. Okay. So here is her look at that. What a sweetheart. There is her missing poster. Melissa Suzanne Highsmith. There we go. Gives the information, 27 pounds. She was just a little itty bitty thing. Born on November the 6th, 1969. Darling baby. Okay, so of course, what happens is they will do the age progression. So every once in a while, they will do age progression on missing person cases, right? So the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, they do that. And as a matter of fact, Samantha Guthrie made a donation for $500,000 to this organization, $500,000, because she made a statement saying that she now sees what families are going through, which I don't know about you all, but I find it hard to watch a lot her videos because they're heartbreaking. They break my heart. I mean, it's just a very sad case. But I think, she's so easy in front of a camera. She's very relatable, I think, because it's her occupation, her job. But I think she's just probably a very nice person anyway. But so they donated $500,000 to this organization, which I think is just phenomenal. So what happened is they kept looking. This picture went to somebody. Somebody saw it in Charleston, South Carolina in 2022, right? September of 2022. And somebody called in a tip and said, I think I've spotted her. This was on September the 9th. I think she's spotted and it's a little place called Daniel Island, Charleston, South Carolina. I think that's her. I think it's her. Now, isn't that cool that people are paying attention to this? And after all these years, like what, 50 years? I think it's her. Well, that tip never panned out. It was not her, right? So what happened is Dad, her father, said, you know what? In September 2022, yes, September 22. So that gave Dad, Melissa's dad, the idea to send in his DNA to see if there would be a match because he had other children, right? Sure enough, look at this. In November of 2022, a match came back for Melissa. 50 years, you guys, 50 years after she had been abducted, right? And it was a match. 50 years. She was reunited with her family in November of 22. Now, what happened to her? So she grew up under the name of Melanie Walden by a woman that she thought was her mother. Now, Melissa confronted that woman who had raised her, right? She admitted that she was Melissa and said that she had purchased her in 1972 from another woman for $500 because the woman that had actually abducted Melissa said it's not working out. And this who raised Melanie Walden was another woman, knew it and raised her, bought her for $500. Well, what happened is Melissa, aka Melanie, it was abusive where she was when she was being brought up. At 15, she ran away from home. So she had a very abusive life away from her family. Of course, her name is Melanie. Guess what? Even more crazy. She was raised 10 minutes from her biological family. She was raised 10 minutes away from her bio family. Is that crazy? Is that 10 minutes, right? So it's just phenomenal. This, I think it's just a tear-jerking case. There's a lot. Melissa Highsmith. There's a lot of really cool videos out there on YouTube where the family met. And it's just, I've got pictures. I'll show y'all pictures because it's just a great story. And also what happened is her brother called her and said, I think it's you, right? And now with Facebook, people can connect because she had a particular birthmark and Melissa had it. So this is her mama on the left. Melissa's in the back. And those are her 3 sisters. Isn't that wonderful that they met 50 years later? This is such a... Now, here is the picture, the age progression, and this is Melissa. Now, if you look at it, and if if her hair was cut, her hair was different, she would favor this age progression. So I just think it's wonderful. And anybody that has anybody missing, I think they should do the genealogy on all the sites just for if somebody's abducted. If they have a child that's missing that was abducted, do it. Look at this. So here's mom and dad on the right, and there's mom and dad reunited with her 50 years later. Isn't this wonderful? What a great story. They never gave up hope. 50 years. Look at that. And they spent Christmas together. Look at that. Look at that. Now, check this out. She had her name legally changed back to Melissa Highsmith. Check this out. She is going to get remarried to her husband so that her biological dad can walk her down the aisle. I just think this is just what a wonderful story. It just doesn't get any better, does it? So I think this is it's just such a feel-good story. And now she's got siblings, but wait till you hear this chart. Let me get my notes for the chart because once again, oh gosh, everything I've got here's got Guthrie on it too. It's pathetic. My life is pathetic with all these cases. Okay, let me get her stuff. Okay, here we go. Here's her chart, right? I know. Look at this, you guys. Wow, 50 years. Wow, 10 minutes. Wonder how many times her real mother ran into them at the store or Walmart. Tammy, isn't that true? Did y'all ever think of that? What if they would have gone in school and her siblings were in a class? How many times do you think they could have run into each other? Well, here's the thing. Another thing I forgot to mention. Melissa was never allowed, because of course the woman that bought her, she was sheltered. So she was never really allowed to go out and play. So her mother, which isn't her mother, but that not her mother, but raised her, kept her very sheltered, very, very sheltered, because she didn't want that to happen. So she confronted the woman that raised her, and the police. Check this out. It's out of the statute of limitations for any charges to be filed. Now, Texas legislators need to get together and put 0 years on the statute of limitations on an abduction or kidnapping for that reason, because this woman should be charged criminally, and she's not, because it's past the statute of limitations, which is crazy. It's crazy. Okay, let's take a look at the chart. Isn't that a great story though? It's a really good feel-good story. It's a feel-good story. Yeah, it has to be done. Every state is different. So, Linda, you've got to be kidding. Our laws need to be fixed. Yeah, check your particular state law because that would all fall under, state laws. Now, I don't know if federal would be because was she ever taken across state lines? So I'm not quite sure about the laws if it would be federal. I don't think so, but it would be a state law. Yeah, check your state law. I bet there's a statute of limitations on it. So, long story short, let's take a look at her chart and see what it tells us, right? So, of course, Melissa was the victim. Now, one thing to take note when you are looking at a baby, a toddler, a baby, we only use the moon. We only use the moon. Normally, in a person's chart, we would use the ascendant, the ruling planet of the ascendant, which is the first house. In this case, we only use the moon. So little baby Melissa is in the first house. Well, yeah, her abductor was right in front of her. She took her. So that makes sense. There's the moon and with the first house, pink. Here's our sign for abduction. Check it out. I circled it in red. Uranus. Unexpected. Shocking. There we go. There we go, you guys. That for our forensic astrologers, there's one of our markers for abduction. Second house. Uranus. What's funny is Black Moon Lilith popped up in the second house. Now, I never have used Black Moon Lilith in crime charts before, but some people have put in the comments on past videos, why aren't you using Black Moon Lilith? And I thought, why aren't we? Isn't that funny that Black Moon Lilith is a dark energy? It's a dark energy. So there we go. Black Moon Lilith. And it was a woman that abducted her, right? So what is in the first house, the moon is vulnerable. And of course, she was vulnerable. Second house, abduction, kidnapping. Now, the third house, we've got Jupiter in there. That would be within the neighborhood. So I really didn't, unless that would have given us maybe a landmark, whether it be a school or a church, something of that nature. Now, I thought it was funny. Look at the fourth house, right? The fourth house. We've got Neptune. Secrets in the home. Secrets in the home. So, of course, Melissa had secrets in the home. However, look at this. See that purple line that goes up to the 12th house? There's Dad. He's the sun. Dad is hidden from Melissa. I about fell over with this chart. Dad is hidden from Melissa. The sun and Venus, mom and dad, are in the 12th house. So they were hidden from her. Neptune is DNA. It's blood. It's DNA. So Dad, and I put that purple line because Dad submitted the DNA. Without Dad doing that, they would never have been able to find Melissa. So isn't that crazy? So the chart's telling us. The chart is telling us, right? But also, let's look at the perp. The perp is always in the 7th house. It's Pisces. Pisces ruler is Neptune. So Neptune pops up in the 4th house. So she was abducted from her home. So you see where the perp went into the home. So if you can have one planet that will make, if it makes different aspects, it can have different meanings in a forensic astrology chart. Just because Neptune, it can also mean drugs. It can mean water. It can mean cameras, videotaped. But in this circumstance, because it connects right with mom and dad who were hidden, DNA just screams out of that. But it also is the ruler of the 7th house, which is the perp, the lady that initially bought and sold her. Again, abduction, money. 2nd house is money. Black Moon Lilith is pretty much an evil female in that placement. I would say that. Now, Jupiter, now we look at the 10th house. They never gave up. The 10th house is what the public sees. So what happened is when they got that first indication that she may have been spotted through age progression, 2022, guess what? The internet is found. So it made headlines. I don't remember this case. But again, it hit the internet and got traction, which was wonderful. I don't remember this case though, but so it's the midheaven shows what the public, or if the person is out in public, right? So, but I thought that was just the most fascinating chart. So, you know, it's good to keep with Miss Guthrie's abduction. Oh, okay. Let me read the rest of the stuff that means some stuff. Let me see what else. Now this the interpretations come from Kirsty McIntosh. Of course, here's her book. Here we go. Is that backward? The Forensic Astrologer Workbook. That's where the interpretations are. 6th house. You know, that's your daily routine, your job. Mars was in there. But Mars, really nothing, you know, but she was in an abusive home. But that shows up, I would say, more like routine, more of mom's work. But did this person stalk or no, you know, watch? And of course, they watched and stalked for ads like that to buy and sell. You know, this is 1971, human, you know, driving around in traffic. That's what they did it from the newspapers, right? So 10th house is ruled by Gemini, which is Mercury is the ruler. And that shows up in the 1st house. That interpretation is there is an oppressor, neglect. She was abused. That's why she ran away at 15. So 12th house, of course, is hidden. Secrets, something is concealed. So there was a big secret. So, you know, this is such a really cool, happy ending. I love this case. I love this case. It means you never give up hope. You never stop. And this family never stopped. So it's a really neat case. It's a really happy case. And everybody's like, oh my gosh, it's so cool. And Linda, I agree. Do the test and on more than one site. They're fairly inexpensive and go on sale a lot. I agree. You know, we don't know. We don't know. So, you know, I think that's how they're going to eventually find what happened to Miss Guthrie on that. It would not surprise me. It would not surprise me. Tammy, that's crazy. Kidnapping should be the same as murder, no statute. I agree. We all agree to that, don't we, everybody? We all agree to that. Check it in your state. You know, I'm surprised at Texas with that because Texas has really good laws. You know, Texas, I think, has good laws. And they don't let people out, which is wonderful. I like that. I like that. So let's just take the last couple of minutes that we got. Isn't that a great, you know what, you guys, isn't it nice to see a feel good story that we know that look at it. She looks just like her when she was a baby, doesn't she? And there's a brother as well. Now, the one sister lives in Spain, but they didn't give out, there's not a lot of family information out there, which is fine. You know, I respect their privacy. I think it's just a wonderful there they look at that. Look how happy they are. And can you imagine, Melissa, how she feels that after 50 years she's got her family? Yeah. Well, yeah, but and that's what happened, Lisa. That's what we talked about. That's what she went through. She went through a lot. She absolutely was cleared, but they never stopped looking. So that was brought up by the siblings at what, and maybe that's why they're being maybe that's why they're being a little to the cuff with their privacy, because of what mom had endured. And we see it with cases all the time. We see people that are family members go through, so it's sad enough that they have to go through the tragedy, but what they go through is beyond tragic. What families go through by just the public, by being accused, it's terrible. And I have to, you have to give the police department, I'm sure, vetted mom very, very closely, and the roommate. I'm sure they did, because they had to. But I've just, yeah. Linda knows that firsthand. People blame the parents. They do. And it's heartbreaking. Families are ripped apart further by the accusations. It's a shame. I've seen it. I've seen it so much. And you have too, Linda. I mean, it's just, this is a wonderful story. They are ripped apart. And it's heartbreaking that she was abused, and she did run away. She was abused growing up, and that's a lot of times. And I'll be quite honest with you guys, and I'll give you like a long story short, because I'll give you, I had a case. There was a case. Gosh, how many years ago? About 4. I'm guessing, because I can't remember. I can't really remember them all. About 6 years ago, I would say. No, maybe 5 years ago. I don't know. It's not been that far, not that far away. Long story short, a young teenager ran away. And I thought, okay, I'll help. Well, I even gave a description of, there's a porch that's like a white patio or a porch over where she's at. And that's where she was, right? And I had told somebody that was a sleuther what my findings were. I had no intention of going to the law enforcement. Sure enough, this young girl was running from abuse, an abusive situation. So very, very careful now with youngsters, that I call them youngsters, but they're, young people that are younger that run away, like she did at 15, like Melissa did at 15, because sometimes they're better off hiding. I hate to say that. It's probably a terrible thing to say, but a lot of the kids run away to leave situations. And I think as like psychics and even during forensic astrology, you have to be very mindful of, are you returning somebody back to a situation that could possibly hurt them even worse? So you have to be very mindful of all the dynamics that go on with cases, because you really do. It's crazy. I love this story. I think it's great. And I love the fact that she is remarrying so that dad can give her away. Look at, I love that. I love that picture. He did it. Dad put in his DNA and they found her. Yeah, we don't know. We don't know. Here we go, you guys. Now, talk about the 2026 weirdness, right? Here's the weirdness. As you know, we have been following Miss Guthrie's case, right? Right? So we had the very first map to the right with the white, with it's the purple line in the green map, went to, that was the 945 event chart, went right to the daughter's house. Okay, that's where she was. So that's cool. I didn't think anything of it. Then we had the situation where, and that's the first map on the left, where they went down to Mexico. Remember? And they busted into that guy's house. I can't keep it straight. Okay, they busted through that and went to that guy's house. So we had a line that went down to that Nogales. That's where they were down by that Rico or whatever it's called, that place, down by Nogales. Okay, so that's two lines. Okay, that could just be a coincidence. Then we had the car in Culver's parking lot that got impounded. Bottom map, straight up, that was Aries 0. There's another hit. Okay, well, now it's getting a little weird, right? Then we had where they went to that other condo or house and busted in. I guess they had a search warrant. That's to the left. And that whole clump of lines, that's where the orange places are. The orange, Lisa, Orange Grove Hills. Lisa keeps seeing, my bad, Lee keeps seeing orange. She keeps talking about orange. So JLR said, we're going to go search at Mount Lemon. So I thought, I'm going to go check the map for Mount Lemon. Do you know, on the first map, we have another line that's going up to Mount Lemon. I have never in my life seen the weirdness of this map, because this is the map at 2:28 a.m. when when her pacemaker stopped connecting with her phone. So is this all going to come together and connect somehow? I don't know. I have never seen a chart, because we know she went to the sister's house. That's true, because they played games, and he took her son-in-law took him back home, right? Took her back home. But that car up at Culver's, I thought those people were cleared. And I'm sure they were, but I've never seen, maybe the chart is just giving us step by step as to what's happening. I have no clue. I don't know how this is happening, but I'm going to keep watching it. So that it's just bizarro world. But you know what? 2026 is bizarre anyway. So why would I expect the dang map to be not bizarre? It's bizarro world. We're in bizarro world. Cindy, Friday the 13th, that evening was a long night. I think they were all back at the house today. FBI. Yes, they were. They were. There was an update. The reels. Brian Edlin does updates. JLR has been live. it apparently the FBI was back. People that were wearing suits. That's not FBI. That's weird. Law enforcement, maybe detective. I don't know. Maybe prosecutors. I don't know. What's weird now is they are not. Brian Edlin reported that the media is not permitted to park on the side of the road anymore. They are not allowed to park on the side of the road, and they've got them blocked off with cones, and seems very organized. But the media, they want the media. I'm gonna be honest with you. This is just my take and my opinion. I think they want the media out of there. They don't want the media there. Now, that's a catch-22 because the media goes away. Guess what happens to that case? What happened? What happens to the case? It's going to go cold. Without the media and keeping it out there, without people putting this out on social media, they desperately need social media now. I have seen where social media, we all have, the cases can be solved by people that I saw him, or that guy looks like it, or there's the backpack. So we know that the porch guy has a black star patch. Okay. And you know what, too? And Kathy had said this too, you guys, that she felt there were two people. There's now a video that shows it's either a phone light, a flashlight, a car headlight behind porch guy. Oh my God, this is like Delphi bridge guy. Now it's porch guy. It's porch guy. Where porch guy, and Kathy said that too, that there were possibly two people. There was also speculation that the two different pictures of porch guy were two separate nights. Former military. It would be Mars. I'd have to look. I don't know. Former military. I would have to look. It would be Mars or the sixth house. I'm not sure. I've got so many charts. Could be. I don't know of any military personnel that would carry a pow like that dude did. I mean, it was right in front, down by the package, by the treasures. Whoops. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. Lisa said, yeah, they some people, JLR, I bet the neighborhood is growing tired of the media. JLR said that the majority of the people are very happy that they want light brought to the case. But there are probably some Karens in the neighborhood that don't want them there. A lot of them, they give them snacks and all kinds of stuff. So, but those houses are pretty spread apart. I don't know how they would be really, they're kind of like off the road from each other. It's hard to see, we'll have to wait and see. All I can say is someone is hiding something for sure. And as you all know, the reward was put up to $1 million now, plus the 200,000. So what is it? $1,200,000. She's not far from the house. Yeah, that could be. And they gave the donation $500,000 to the other, missing and exploited children. Let me know if chart shows security. I will. Yeah, Lee's right. Yeah, a few Karens live there. Yeah, Karen came down the other day and was like, Karen's being Karen. There was a Karen screaming. There's always a Karen screaming. Yeah, it was weird. And they were just walking down the street. You know, I could see if I wonder if some of the media people are like going into the yards and going up in people's, but they seem very polite. I don't know. I mean, from what I've seen on with JLR on his lives, the media seem like they seem very polite to people. I don't know. A lot of people were coming in and leaving flowers at her house. So pray for Karen. Yeah. Everybody pray for the Karens. Pray for the Karens. Well, y'all, I hope you guys enjoyed that story. I will all keep up with Miss Guthrie's case. I don't want the media to leave. That worries me. That's the worst thing that could happen. You know, I think that sheriff is very nice, but I think he's in over his head. Very kind man. And he wants her back. I agree with that. But I think he's made some slip ups, which everybody makes mistakes. I mean, geez, he was just pushed into the limelight. But mistakes happen. But so I'm not sure if he likes the media too much. But, you know, oh well. This is the world we live in. This is our world. Yeah, I think I agree with Lisa 100%. We needed one with good news. I know. Isn't it great? Because I've got one planned for next week. It's kind of weird, but I think it's great to see this little family. I love this one. We did need one with good news. Well, you guys have a great week. Have a great weekend. I hope it's warm in your area. We need warm weather too, don't we, y'all? Enjoy this Pisces energy because it's laid back. I don't know if you feel this energy, but it's certainly not like it was prior to the eclipse. The eclipse on March the 3rd is not as intense as the other one. You know, we have a lot of, when Pisces is laid back, it's more intuition. So if you start having really weird dreams this week, they're going to be off the cuff. So don't worry about it. It's normal with the energy. So really good dreams. Journal them. Write them down. Maybe you'll get some things on Miss Guthrie. Oh, this is what I'm planning on doing too for, I'll let you go after this one, for Mercury retrograde, which is coming up. It's a short retrograde. It's only 11 days. But I am going to go through like every show because there's a lot of, you know, I'm a big Epstein follower. I have been for decades, really since about 2010, I think. On it, really. So there's a lot of misinformation. I'm going to go through and I'll take some stuff from the DOJ site and show you guys some of the things that they are misinformation that's going around so that you get a better idea looking through the cases of what's really going on with the case. Because it's really interesting. There's a lot of interesting things that are coming out. And there's a lot of stuff. And we're getting ready to get the good batch too, I think, with everything. A lot more coming. So a lot's been released. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. So see what happens with New Mexico and the searches there. So, but you guys have a great week. Have a great weekend. I hope it stays warm. I hope everybody stays healthy. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I hope y'all, oh, Tammy, 2 cases. For you, Miss Tammy. Miss Tammy likes the 2 cases. That's why we do the 2 cases. Thank you for sharing it. Oh, that was Miss Lisa. That's so good, isn't it, Lisa? Thanks. That was a great show. I hope you have a great week and hope Nancy's found soon. I know, y'all. We need her found. Maybe we could all just say a little prayer on eclipse. Full moon eclipse can be very revealing. So we can all say a little prayer that with her family. I feel so bad for the family. That's who I just feel horrible for them, for Savannah. It's just terrible. So you guys have a great week. And I got another good case for next week. There's really some good cases popping out. So have a great week. Enjoy the weekend. And stay well. All of us stay well and healthy. So have a good one. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. And I'll see you guys next week. Good night.